Okay. Want to welcome everybody tonight. Really excited. Here we are. It's almost Thanksgiving, and you're getting ready to learn some things you can apply to your Thanksgiving dinner this year. But we're really excited to have you. I'm John Ware. I direct the Center for the Environment here. And we have a great group here to teach us tonight things that I think are important, and I think all of you do too, or otherwise you wouldn't be here tonight. So let me introduce our speakers tonight. On the end, Dr. Chris Magrita. Chris, raise your hand. Joined Salisbury Pediatrics in 1999. He has a special interest in pediatric allergies, asthma, autism, and immunology. He studied integrative medicine with Dr. Andrew Weil. Does everybody remember Andrew Weil on CNN? Yes, at the university, and that was at the University of Arizona School of Medicine. In addition to general pediatric care, Dr. Magrita provides specialized care in prevention, nutrition, and combines alternative medicine with traditional medicine. Next up, we've got Chris Nagy. Dr. Chris Nagy, he's a orthopedic surgeon of 25 years, but also someone who's passionate about real health. His goal is to educate those who want better for themselves beyond what modern medicine offers. Dr. Nagy received his MD from Wright State University School of Medicine to help people beyond the scope of orthopedics. He furthered his training as a fellow in the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. He has a certification in mastering hormone optimization with Dr. Neil Rauser. He also completed certification in age management medicine via the Synergenics Research Foundation. And then we have Nicole Magrita, is a clinical nutritionist with extensive experience in the field of childhood nutrition and functional medicine. She completed her clinical nutrition degree at the University of Virginia School of Health Sciences and went on to complete a health coach certification from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in New York City. She currently works at Salisbury Pediatrics as a clinical nutritionist, as well as seeing clients in a private practice. She works closely with many schools teaching nutrition science to middle and high school students, as well as establishing wellness programs for those institutions. Her passion is for changing the face of childhood health. Her years of training and study are culminating in a soon-to-be published book called Nourish Your Tribe. Her goal is to help parents navigate our toxic food environment and raise children with a healthy palate. So let's hear it for Chris, and Nicole. Start, one thing. Now, you have some note cards. You're going to have a lot of questions, and so what we're going to do is have you write your questions out. Kathy Green, Kathy, raise your hand, is going to collect those. And when do you want them to start? Whenever they want to. I mean, they can go on at any time as we're moving ahead. So you just, when you get a card ready, do you want them to pass it down or hold it up? Right. Yeah. But anyway. Okay, so here we go. Let's take it from here.
Good evening. Thanks, everyone, for coming. For a show of hands, how many people came to the lecture 2 weeks ago? Oh, a lot. Wow. All right, so we won't have to repeat any of those questions. Great. Second show of hands, how many people came to this show last spring? Okay, so a couple of you are going to see some repeats. Hopefully that will encourage you to now become proficient at doing these things. We're grateful that you're all here. We often, as we said at the last lecture, we feel like we're preaching to the choir a lot of times, and that's not a bad thing if the choir becomes disciples of moving this movement out to other people who can become healthier. So we really appreciate your time, and we're going to sit here and cook all kinds of fun things for you. And this time, we actually have the luxury of Dr. Ware has got us a GoPro. It's functionally terrible. And, and when it starts working, if it...
Yes, he worked very hard.
But, you know, it's an attempt to step forward.
Yeah, we're getting there. So
yes.
We're going to try and show up top so you can see what it looks like when things are cooking. But tonight we're going to make a few different things. Chris, what are you going to make?
Well, first off, welcome everybody. And for the people that were at our previous lecture and came back, wow, good. Appreciate it. We thought maybe we would have overwhelmed you and scared you away. But we appreciate you coming back tonight. And this will be relatively informal. And most of my cooking is not going to be cooking. It's going to be fermentation, which is the traditional way of preserving food before we had refrigeration. And it's something that we've gotten away from in our culture today. But it's so important, really, for your health because the fermentation process is how you nourish your microbiome. You feed yourself the good bacteria that keep you healthy so they can outbattle the bad bacteria that make you sick, basically. As we talked in our previous talk, Hippocrates, the father of medicine, says the gut is... Okay, just slipped my mind.
Let medicine be thy food, let food be thy medicine.
Yeah. So, the gut is basically the gateway to health and disease. Health or disease, and it's your choice. And unfortunately in America today, with a lot of the toxic exposures we have, the food, the environment, stress, everything, our microbiomes are becoming weaker and weaker. We're developing more autoimmune diseases. So basically, before I spend the next hour talking, I'm going to make kombucha, which is fermented sweet tea, traditional beverage, kefir, which is basically fermented milk, or you could think of it as rotten milk, but that doesn't sound right. So it's fermented milk, which is extremely rich in probiotics, about 5 to 7 times more amount of probiotics than what you get in regular yogurt, and so easy to make. And then the other thing I'll be making is sauerkraut. There's many variations on sauerkraut. You can make kimchi if you pour red pepper in it, or depending on the different vegetables that you use. So all of these are kind of part of my daily routine. And actually, it's not drudgery. A lot of times when you smell fermented vegetables, you're like, I don't know if I want to eat that. And a lot of times fermented vegetables, kefir, sauerkraut, it's an acquired taste. I mean, they call kefir the champagne of milk. And I know you look at that and think, geez, what's all that stuff on the side? All that stuff on the sides is what's called kefiran, which is a polysaccharide that helps heal your gut, basically. It fills in the holes and the pock marks that the toxic food you're eating have created. So I'm going to be working a little bit, cutting up my vegetables for the sauerkraut, but as Chris and Nicole kind of show their thing, I'll get to mine and show you exactly how to make all this stuff, which is easy. I'm telling you, this is one of the easiest things to do. The sauerkraut, I probably make it every 2 or 3 months, and and it'll last quite a while. The kefir I make every day. I make a quart a day. Kombucha, basically that takes once every 7 to 10 days is how you make the kombucha, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So,
Great. Am I on? Okay. And I'm going to, everything we're basically making today is really easy and straightforward. I'm going to show you how to make bone broth with turkey since we're approaching Thanksgiving. I know everyone here is going to have a turkey bones left over, so I'm going to teach you sort of what to do with those bones and how to make an extremely nourishing broth from those bones. I'm also brought a little concoction of a drink I drink in the morning that's it's a wonderful anti-inflammatory alternative to coffee. If you want to try, I actually have some sample cups that if any brave souls will try it, they can. And Chris, you're going to make ghee. Again, all these are very traditional foods that have been around for hundreds of years. You can go on and talk about your ghee.
No, good. I'm not the chef, obviously. And so I'm just going to do the simple stuff. I'm going to teach you all how to make ghee, which is basically taking butter and converting it into a healthy source for your gut microbiome. And I'm a huge fan. If anyone knows me, there's a few things in life I'm really passionate about. One of them is your gut. Other things are sports, and other things are, her. But aside from those 3 things, what we're going to talk about is how to take the bad protein out of this butter if you were irritated by it. Now, as Chris said earlier, he loves kefir every day. If I drank kefir every day, I'd be in trouble because I have a sensitivity to dairy. But it just depends on what your body is capable of handling. Now, fermented foods tend to have less of the irritating things in them through the fermentation process. Things get broken down and become healthier for you. So in the process of taking this and converting it to ghee, we're going to remove casein. And I don't know if anyone knows what casein is. Casein is the #1 irritating protein in dairy for most humans. Now, children, I'm a pediatrician, obviously, I see lots of babies. In the first 4 weeks of life, we see lots of babies show up with what's called cow milk protein intolerance. It's not cow allergy, They do not have signs of anaphylaxis or signs of things you connotate with food allergies. What they do is they show up, they're colicky, they have green poops, which is just fast transit time, so bile doesn't get changed into its brown form. They have eczema all over their skin, they throw up a lot, and they come to the pediatrician. Well, when I first started medicine 16 years ago in Salisbury, I used to just go, sorry, Mom, your kid has colic, it'll be fine, it'll go away, which it does eventually. The sad thing is all that bad advice I was giving was really, truly casein intolerance. And so by removing the casein protein from the milk, from the butter, it can be now tolerated because it's primarily whey at that point. Unless you're reacting to whey, you'll be fine with this. And this is primarily what we use in our house as our butter source, because my gut doesn't like it and her gut doesn't like it a little bit. And the other my kids who also do this, they get irritated by it a little bit too. So I'm going to start making.
Good.
And
Want me to help?
he's going to start cutting.
Yep.
And you can talk.
I'll just watch. You can talk. Oh.
Yes.
Well,
The camera's working now.
Let me put it over. It's meant to show the pot, correct?
Yeah. From the top.
From the top.
Well, I can do my little kefir while he's doing that if you want.
Go ahead. Do the kefir
Yeah, go
while
for
I
it.
get
All right,
started.
I'll do the kefir here. I'm going to get the kombucha out of the way for a minute.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay. I'm putting it on him.
All right, so kefir, fermented milk. I generally recommend you use whole milk, organic milk, raw milk if you can get it, but that's illegal in North Carolina, so you got to go to South Carolina to get it legally.
With your fireworks.
What's that?
There we
With
go.
your fireworks.
Or you can use pet milk,
Whoa.
which is really just raw milk, but they call it pet milk so they don't have to get in trouble for selling it as raw milk. So anyways, but I generally use just organic whole milk. We talked a little bit about last week, whole milk, skim milk. Which should you use? Absolutely use whole milk. Skim milk is sugar water.
Why?
They take the fat out of skim milk, basically. And what happens when you take the fat out of a food, it's all carbohydrates. When you eat all carbohydrates, your insulin levels go through the roof. And they've actually done studies looking at people who drink whole milk, people who drink skim milk, and people who drink whole milk actually are healthier, have less incidence of heart attack, diabetes. And, some of these these are what are called observational studies, where they look at one factor and another. They haven't done a randomized prospective double-blind controlled study. But in general, the way I like to think about what I do for my health is basically copy nature. What cows produce skim milk?
Skinny cows?
None. Yeah. Sickly cow. Well, skim milk was initially used to fatten pigs. I think I mentioned that last time, but eventually they figured out, hey, let's sell it to people. So truly, that is the case. I actually posted a little thing on my Facebook page about that this week. So whole milk has healthy fats. There are some, both Chris and Nicole and I are all proponents of healthy fat. We've lived under the mantra forever of don't eat fat, fat makes you fat, when that's not actually true. Basically,